Hello and welcome to Threefold Herbal Healing. I'm herbalist Leo Sade. I work with people who are sick and tired of being sick and tired, or people that struggle with chronic conditions. I help them grow health from the roots up. And today I'm going to speak a little bit about roots that boost the immune system. It is the end of fall. The solstice is a week from today. So it's really the tail end of fall. And fall is really challenging for the immune system because the atmosphere, the weather is changing dramatically from day to day. Yesterday, when I stepped out of the house, it was brutally cold. I was bundled with two pair of pants, couple of layers, coat, scarf, hat, mittens, and it was hard to breathe. Today, I bundled again and walked out of the house, and it was sunny. The sky was blue. It was great. I was sweating under all my layers. So, fall is about those dramatic environmental changes that require constant adaptation in the inner ecology, posing stress on the body, specifically the immune system. Now, roots can help ground the body when dramatic fluctuation in weather make us more susceptible to illness. So many factors influence immune function, including stress, age, lifestyle, and nutritional status. Adaptogen herbs nourish the body and support it respond to stress. One way that adaptogen herbs support the body during stressful time is by boosting the immune system. So what really are adaptogen herbs? Adaptogen herbs help the body adapt to stress due to dramatic environmental changes. Those herbs increase the body's resilience to stress by strengthening the immune system, the nervous system, and the endocrine system, which set them apart from nervines. Nervines are herbs that reduce stress or increase resilience to stress by directly working on the nervous system. Adaptogen herbs, on the other hand, work through the endocrine system, the nervous system, and specifically the immune system. Adaptogen increase the production of neutral killer cells, a type of immune cells that targets and eliminate virus-infected cells and cancer cells. In addition, adaptogens increase the production of adaptive immune cells, T helper cells, and B cells that coordinate the immune response. Astragalus is one of those adaptogens that has direct impact of work or affinity to the immune system. It is indicated for strengthening the body resistance to external environmental influences and systemic weakness. So let's talk a little bit about astragalus. It has been used by TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, for centuries and has become a staple in Western herbalism too. In China, it was used as a qi tonic, a concept that is very similar to what we in the West call vitalism or life force. It's something that nourish the life force of the body. Astragalus is sweet tasting herb. It is moistening and it has a slight bitter aftertaste. The sweet taste and the moistening quality are due to the polysaccharides that it contains, which indicate that it is a nutritive, rejuvenating herb. Since it contains sugar and starch, astragalus can increase carbohydrate digestion and metabolism. Being an emulsion herb that moistens tissue means that astragalus can improve nourishment flow into tissue and it can remove toxin out of tissue. Therefore, it helps nourish the cells and tissue, replenishing weakness and emaciation. Astragalus also protect the Wi Qi, which is a total Chinese medicine concept. The Wi Qi is kind of a layer around the body and around each cell, each organ, each system of the body. It's this protective layer that protect us or make us less permeable to outside influences. So it's kind of um, us like it really protect from stuff coming into us, but also protect leakage from the body. So prevent leakage of too much energy, forces, fluids from the body. So it's both energetically and physically. Astragalus' role as a guardian of the boundaries means that it prevents leakage from the body, leakage of fluids, leakage of energy. As an astringent herb, astragalus tighten tissue and prevent what we call in herbalism dryness in damp. So when you have a leakage of fluids, and as a result, the tissue is dry. So think about leaky nose where you all the time exert mucus. It's drippy and it leaks outside all the time, but you lose fluid and eventually the tissue inside is drier. Again, if you cry too much, you have like you mourn something very deeply and you are weeping and you lose a lot of fluid through tears. So that can happen inside too. And then you're damp, but your tissue is drying. And that usually happens when the tissue is relaxed. There is no tone in the tissue, and fluids are just flowing out of the tissue. Because astragalus is an astringent herb, it's tightened tissue. It gives it some tone, some integrity, and it prevents all this fluid loss. Because it's fortifies the protective layer of the body, astragalus is not used in acute condition, where what we are trying to do is sweat out pathogen and toxins. You don't want to trap the pathogenic invaders in the body. So, for example, you don't use astragalus in acute condition, especially not when you have fever and you want the body to sweat out toxins, because astragalus, one of the things it does is close the pores of the skin, so it will prevent sweating out of fever. Now, the protective quality of astragalus extend way beyond the physical realm into the psycho-spiritual level. So astragalus can benefit people with weak Wei Qi who are not grounded in their body. They are hypersensitive. They are nervous. Those are the people that are triggered by anything around them. Maybe they are constantly worried about getting sick. Those people that are hypochondriac, those type of people. So it's protecting the physical level and the psychological level. Let's talk a little bit about the immune and stress response. So we tend to think about stress as a condition that develops out of our everyday life. When I think about stress, I a lot of time thinking to myself, my work really stressed me out. I'm really stressed about money. That's what we usually tell ourselves. But disease increase stress in the body too. And by doing that, it depletes the body's resource. That is why you feel weakened following an acute condition or acute disease. When you were really, really sick for a long time, it takes a while to be totally back on your feet. Tropo-restorative herbs are herbs that help you with this weakness following a chronic condition. They are deeply nourishing for specific tissues or organs. So they have an affinity to an organ. They work to restore normal function following an acute illness. They build resilience in target systems, so in the system that they have an affinity to, and often you need to use them in a consistent way for a long term, for a long period of time. Astragalus is one of those herbs. It's a tropo-restorative herb that has an affinity to the immune system and the respiratory system. So it is an amazing herb to use following an acute disease that depletes the body and the immune system, such as cold, COVID, and even after cancer. When the body is emaciated and it needs help building vitality and immunity. For people who develop chronic disease following acute viral conditions, such as the cases of chronic fatigue syndrome following an Epstein-Barr infection or following a long COVID, astragalus can protect the nervous system, reduce fatigue, and boost the immune system. So now that we know how astragalus can help us, how can we use it? So astragalus contains a boosting immune polysaccharides, a whole bunch of them, which are best extracted in water. Polysaccharides generally are not extracted in alcohol. So what you do is you do a long decoction. Decoction means that you simmer the roots. You cut them first to expose the cells, and you simmer them. I simmer them for a minimum of 12 hours, if not longer, in order to extract all the beneficial compound. And then I reduce the tea by half. I strain it, reduce it by half, so it's very concentrated. Now, you can drink the tea, or you can make a tincture out of it by adding 20% of alcohol by volume to the tea, so you preserve it. And that if you want to keep the tea for a long time. Otherwise, you can make yourself astragalus tea daily, but to make daily and decoct it for 12 hours, it doesn't really make sense. Some safety notes about astragalus. Like I said, astragalus should be avoided in acute condition, especially if fever is present. And if you struggle with an autoimmune disease, you probably do not want to boost your immune system because that will lead to autoimmune flare. So using astragalus during autoimmune should be with caution, and I suggest with an herbalist that know what they are doing. So if you have an autoimmune disease, don't go and reach for astragalus without somebody to help you out with dosage and how to play with it. Now, fall is very challenging for the immune system, but nature is always there to help us out. In the fall, it's a time of the year where plant collects all the vital forces and send them down to the roots to ensure that they have all those nutrition down in the root so the roots can survive the winter and then send shots in the spring. That makes root in the fall the most full of nutrition, and all the good stuff is concentrated in the roots in the fall. That makes fall an optimal time for digging out fresh root and making root medicine. So usually for me, it was October when I used to dig root, wash them, cut them, and with astragalus, I usually made fresh medicine, like immediately put them in water. With other herbs, I used to dry them and process them later on. That's it about astragalus and the immune system. I hope you find it beneficial. I love astragalus. Thank you for taking the time to watch me. If you have any question or comment, I would love you to leave them in the comments below. If you have a topic that you want me to cover, I will be happy to do it. Have a great week. Bye. See you next week.